Hello and welcome to Dubai Trains and welcome to another layout design video. And today we're going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to take this existing design and I'm going to make it fit in the space that we have available, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit to the requirements that we have. So let's start off by looking at the design. We have a double track mainline that goes all the way around the layout, as you see right here and right here. Then we have a lot of passengers. So we have a big junction station right here that has a set of platform right here and a set of platforms right there. And it leads to this branch line that just goes all the way through here. And then we have another set of platforms right here. There's a halt halfway in between there as well. This layout is in 00 scale and it is set in the UK. So we're going to have left-hand traffic. Then on the freight side of things, we have a little yard right here in the middle. We have an engine terminal right here. We have a little bit of switching right here, and a little bit more switching here way on the left as well. The siding right here, and that is more or less it. We have two passing sidings, which could be used as staging right there as well. And then from the room perspective, we have the stairs here, but we have a doorway right here somewhere, so that actually works out quite well. And now let's go slowly to the negatives of this design. And first off, and you see that a lot with older designs, the reach here of this bench work from here to here is way too big. And it's even worse from here all the way to there. So this whole section needs to be narrowed down or chopped or some other way made accessible, because all this right here is just too much. Then another aspect, if you look at it, this area right here, from about here to here, is quite complex. So right here in this section, you have 1, 2, 3 different heights, and that is quite a difficult thing to build. So one thing to keep in consideration is the length. That is the most critical. We have 21 feet, and we only have 18.6 feet. And so that is obviously this direction. And we already noted that there's a lot going on. We have this, which is too deep, so we can save some space there. And also this dimension is critical because this angle needs to be relatively shallow. This angle right here. And we cannot go out too much that way because that compromises this aisle width, but we need more space here for this aisle width. So there's a lot of geometry going on here to make sure that this will fit. So before this mess gets any bigger, let's go straight to my design. So here is the final design. So as you see, we have the doorway here at the bottom going into the layout room. And then you're confronted straight with this nice view of the station and the junction part of the station right here, and this nice broad curve that goes around the peninsula. Continuing into the room to the left, here we have then the double track main line that continues. We'll talk more about the station later on. Entering the room going right, then we have the nice station and engine terminal here immediately on the right. So that's a nice view. And what you see is we made this bench work a lot smaller, yet the plan still works as originally intended. So let's go through that plan in a little bit more detail. Now, if you like where this track plan is headed, don't forget to like this video so other people can find it as well. Let's just start up here. Then here to the right, we have another transloading track and a storage track for freight or goods, as they would say in the UK. And then another track here to serve two different industries. And on the other side, we have a fueling spur right here that also acts as a reversal track into the shed right here for two, where several engines can be stored. Look a little bit closer at these platforms. They're really just squished in here, as they sometimes are in the UK. And to be able to access these two platforms, you have to cross this fueling track through the little, through this little station building right here to the road. Now, going down the grade, we wind and we go all the way more or less to this area right here. You see, it's typical British landscape, and there's a lot happening. We have a nice bridge over the other two tracks right here. This can be a nice arched stone bridgeway. There's a small valley here with a river, and the other double track going underneath on the bottom deck. And this is a little bit of a compromise compared to the original design that was much deeper, so you could put a lot more scenery in here. But yeah, like I said, we don't want to have that amount of depth. Then we have another signal house right there, just where we go to a single track around the bend, following the shape of the pond. And then we have a little halt just after we go back to double track, making a big curve here onto the junction station. So one thing to know here is we have an engine storage track right there. And we have some tracks for goods, for freight. And they connect up to this third line, which is basically the line for arrival departures for the whole freight side of things. You'll see that the platforms don't really extend past this line right here. Now, if you're in a similar situation where you have the track plan of your dream layout, but just don't know how to adapt it to your wishes, your needs, or to fit it in the space that you have, please reach out to me on www.modelrailroaddesigns.com and we'll make your dream layout happen. The core of the layout is this junction facility right here, and this junction, I don't want to say yard throat, but this throat right here. So I took most of this over from the original John Armstrong design. I did use the materials and the turnouts and the radii that we have in our design, but the general line diagram, as I would say, is the same in this section. And so it bends off here, and here we have something interesting going on. So we have 3 tracks disappearing under the station. And if we turn some of the scenery off, then we see that we actually have what you could call a little mini staging right here. We have this 3rd track, and there's a passing siding right here, so you could potentially store a train right there. And this all happens out of sight, where the 2 main line then reappear here at this tunnel entrance. So that just gives you a little bit extra flexibility. And these tracks, along as these tracks right here behind the back wall, can be reached from underneath in case there's a derailment or something along those lines. And here as well, there's a bit of a larger cutout, so you can reach and bob your head in there if you need to. So continuing the line, we have go around the bend, another pond. We have that transloading facility. We already talked about that. Going down a bit, we have some industries right here. Now these industry tracks originally were connected straight to the main line, and I did move them off to this siding right here. This makes it a little bit more convenient to switch, and then you have better access to the siding for runarounds as well if you need to do so. Or if you don't want to do that, then you can cross over from the, because we have left-hand traffic, so you can cross over from the station to this track and then just back up, get the cars, and then move on again and use this crossover to go back to the left-hand traffic. If you're interested by this track plan or you want to see more in detail how it really works, then check out my Patreon page where you can download this track plan. Then we have a lift gate right here. It has some turnouts on the lift gate. That's just a little bit of a necessary evil. We need to get those turnouts somewhere, but at least they're fully on the lift gate. So if you just glue them in properly, that should not be an issue. And then going to the right here, this was, if you remember, a bit of a complex situation, and we dialed it down a bit. We don't have the space nor the benchwork depth to have a loop underneath the benchwork. So to compensate a little bit for that, we now have this track that goes into 2 staging tracks, just relatively simple, and these 2 mainline tracks just continue underneath the whole layout of the benchwork right here, and then where they pop out of the tunnel again right here. So in terms of operations, we obviously have the double track mainline that goes around the room. That's great for continuous running. And then we have the station and the engine terminal up here on the 2nd level on the right. That goes to the junction station, and trains can turn around there and go back to the station up here. Or they can go through the junction station and continue on the loop, and after a few loops or straight after the junction station, they can go here into staging. And that's my adaptation of John Armstrong's North Devon branch, Great Western Railway. So you see, we really took the core features and the core shape of the track plan and altered basically every inch of it to get it to fit in the space that we have. And we also changed some details to make the layout more accessible and a bit more manageable to build and to maintain. And we added some different operation features to fit the needs of the client. And that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.